insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Top the lead, we own the space. Talking phone, we break it down.
Hello.
Who's important, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never waste. You're playing the game with ease. It's our breeze. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Top the league, we own the space. Talking form, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. Who's informed, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never a waste. Bench you playing, navigate with ease. Winning squads, it's a breeze. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun will hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Top the league, we own the space. Talking form, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. We're wearing crowns. In that FPL Romeo, we play the game. Fantasy, football, the road to fame. We talk stats, we talk goals. Building teams to reach our goals. Every week we make our picks. Playing insights, all the slick tricks. Got my squad ready to compete. Riding high, never face defeat. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another interesting episode of your fantasy football community, your favorite fantasy football community. With me in the studio, I have Lanre, Babajide, and Justin. Hi, team. How are you guys doing?
Hi, Mayor. Good evening. How are you doing today? I'm very well from here. And good evening to you too, Larry. And good evening, Justin. Looking
Good evening,
forward to
everyone.
another exciting moment on the show today.
Thank you
Hi
very much.
everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Nice to be here.
Interesting.
This is my GW2, Justin. Nice to be here. Let's get the show started.
Brilliant. So for today's show, we are just going to welcome everyone. We appreciate all the time and everything that is put into making this, a very interesting session. As you all know, FPL Rodeo is a community of people who love the wonderful sport of football. It's what we live, we breathe, and we've decided to put our mouth where we believe it should be, and that is to lead our own individual teams to victory. And this victory can only be done in the beautiful sport of football using Fantasy Premier League. And it's been a very interesting week. I think that the talk of the town and the talk of the community, FPL Rodeo community, has been how game week 1 went. And on me in the studio today, I have very brilliant people that can engage together and tell us exactly how the game week 1 went for them, firstly, and then we move on to the talk of the town. I don't know if Justin or Jide or Larry wants to do us the honors of just spilling the beans on how well or how not well they fared in the first game week.
Hi, this is Justin. and I think I'll just go because I think of everybody here. I performed the least. No, I did not actually. I'll just check it. But I did not expect somebody here to be the last, but it's what it is.
It is what it is.
Um,
I'm telling you.
it's what it is. What it is. What it is. It happens. It's just week one. Your tables can turn. So currently, I mean, in a league of 42 people, I am currently 23rd. Not bad. Way better than most people. But then still, I mean, there's still a lot to do to get to number one, which is where I'm going to end up by the end of this month. So my team was fair. I had some players that delivered. Of all the players that delivered points, I think Raya, Poro, Trent, Jota, Haaland, and Isak with the assist. Where I messed up was in having some Chelsea players like Nkunku, Solanke, Eze. It could have been way better with them. There was also the situation with Eze, which made me not sell him and made me keep him because Eze was unfortunate. He had a goal that was cancelled. When in hindsight, the only reason why it was cancelled because the referee had blown his whistle before the ball hit the back of the net. If the whistle was delayed by a microsecond later and it went to VAR, the goals have been given for Eze. And in return, Mbeumo's goal will not have counted because it literally came about some minutes after that. So, I mean, in terms of my team, I had two players that did not show. I have Bako and a goalkeeper as well that was expected. But it's not a bad start. It was above average of 57 this week, and I scored 60 points. But this
Nice.
coming week,
Nice.
we'll get there.
Okay, thank you very much, Justin, for setting the ball rolling. Yeah, and I think one of the topics we've debated the most is the topic of these two gentlemen, Erling Haaland and Mohamed Salah. What would you say happened to these two fantastic players in the first game week? Larry Jide, anyone?
Okay. I mean, Salah's performance was unsurprising. I don't think anyone who has played this game for years now would be shocked by the returns of Salah. I think the major contention was obviously how to fit in both assets, given that Alan is also facing Ipswich this weekend. So Salah hitting 40 points was not out of the norm. I think the major impact was just people getting attached to Salah and they couldn't. I mean, getting attached to Salah, right? And you felt bad because you didn't have him in your team. Like for me, I felt bad because I wished I was able to fit in both Salah and Haaland, but of course, it was going to destabilize my plan setup. Salah remains one of the best. I mean, it's now the outright and best player on the opening day of the EPL. I mean, that is also uh, amazing to see. So Salah was great, and I wouldn't feel bad if I understand my setup for the next few weeks. So it's just 1 week that it could happen. I mean, easily Alan could have gotten more than one goal, but converted the only major chance he got, right? So I'm still fine with 7 points, which is just 50% of what Salah has done. It could be better, but then I'm hoping that I will cope in ungrateful when he faces Ipswich this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry. I don't know if anyone else wants to give a take of on what they feel on our great debate, the epic Salah versus Haaland topic.
Yes. Thank you very much, Maiwa. I think in addition to what Larry said, um, there's been that usual trend about Salah's performance in opening game weeks of, maybe the past 6, 7, 8 seasons now. And he's just kept on that same trend by delivering another double digits return with his 14 points. And I think another thing that is also very interesting about it is one of the key stats from game week one. It is the non-penalty expected goal involvement. Um, Out of all the players that played in game week one, Salah ranked behind only Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United with 0.78 goal non-penalty expected goal involvement. And of course, why Fernandez was able to probably beat him was because it was played in that unusual center forward position for Man U, and he got a couple of chances that would have most likely benefited his owners. On the part of Haaland, I think Haaland is always Haaland, right? You can't always rule him out, and you also have to bring into perspective the oppositions that both players had to go against. White Salah was going against a newly promoted side in Ipswich. Haaland had the opportunity of facing the newly team of Chelsea that is undergoing that rebuilding, right? So he still did not have that entirely poor match. He had a 7 point return. I mean, I say that maybe the point would have even been more than that, if not for the fact that he got a yellow card in that match. Um, Beyond what happened in the game week one, I'm more particularly interested in what happened in game week two when both of the players will be playing at home, the very first match at home in front of their home fans. And of course, Ireland will be going against that same opposition that Salah had the honor of, demolishing in game week one, which is Ipswich. And if history is anything to go by, in the past 2 seasons, Haaland has returned 6 hat-tricks in 34 home matches. These are the kind of oppositions that Haaland usually faced against. The question is, how well is Salah able to match that when it takes to the field against Brentford at the Anfield?
Interesting take, interesting take. As usual, sound analytics from Larry and Babajide. You guys never fail to deliver. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. There are other interesting topics that we would like to take on. There are players that, we need to look at. One of such players that we maybe should talk about would be Yankuba Minte. Larry, Justin?
Okay,
Larry?
yeah. I can go for that. So the thing about Minte was that, I mean, first off, there was an expectation from Minte because he came with this high potential and it's quite cheap. I will not say cheap, but it's very affordable for people to get him in FPL. And he had just, I think, 45 minutes, if I'm wrong. He had like just 45 minutes to do his thing. And from watching that, it's someone I would put on a lookout for because there are lots of, FPL usually peaks around just after the international break. So after 3 game weeks, lots of people will wildcard because there'll be lots of decisions that were made in summer that they don't make sense. That doesn't make sense again. There'll be lots of outgoing players or incoming players on deadline day. But Yakominta was fantastic, in my opinion. I did not really watch the game, but I saw some highlights from him. And I felt that I always knew he was good, but I did not expect him to be this good because he had some small things like how he could beat his man and how his balance was ridiculous. So, I just need to understand how their club is going to work when NCC was at the Olympics with Paraguay, and then when they have some injuries and people coming back, I just want to see how it would work with Yakuba Minte. But I do think he has potential to be excellent and a good steal in FPL. Just that they're playing United, but they do have a good record against United. I think they've won 4 out of the last 5. And Pascal Gross always scored Man U. And Pascal Gross is no more here, but Minte might not be.
Okay. Interesting take on Minte. Any other players that we want us to, probably review or talk about, give insights on?
Well, thank you very much, Justin. I think that's a very brilliant take by Justin. A lot of managers coming into the season, for some very interesting reason, were able to spotlight Minte already. To be honest, I'm not sure I'm really sold on him yet. Probably because I'm not a fan of his name, especially his first name, Yankuba. I'm still struggling to understand how any parents would give their son a name called Yankuba. But that aside, I think another thing that is interesting to notice is that He's going to have a lot of duel to fight with Simon Adingwa. When he had that possible concussion issue against Everton, their young manager, the 33-year-old manager, quickly took to the bench and brought on Adingwa, who also had a very brilliant outing and returned as well. So I'm just trying to look at his performance over the next couple of game weeks and see how he's able to fight it out with Adingwa and see how much of trust the manager has in him. I think that will be very crucial. Of course, he's a player that comes at that very reasonable price tag, so it makes it easy for any manager to quickly switch to him if he's proven himself to be on fire. Um, I think another person that caught my attention in that game week one would be, and I think we spoke about the team already. That's Ipswich. Um, is this winger that more or less was responsible for every good thing that was happening to Ipswich that day? This guy that Ipswich just bought from Chelsea on permanent deal. He was also very instrumental.
Omari Orchesty.
You understand? Hutchinson, it was almost everywhere. As a matter of fact, it could have had a double return that day if they had a different set of players at their center forward position. It was on set space. It was, orchestrating all the beautiful things about them. So I think for me, that's somebody that you also want to try as much as possible to pay a lot of attention to, especially when they start taking on teams that are within their bracket of capacity and competency with player personnel on the field. That's when you'll now have to see if he's able to deliver on the good promises that he has.
Hmm, interesting. I know we had talked about Bruno Fernandes, but Bruno had a very decent game playing as a false nine. I don't know how that's going to pan out for the rest of the season. I'm sure the coach is definitely going to try to do something else. But you never can tell. Miracles do happen in football. What if that's the perfect position for Fernandez to play in? But anyways, how does all of this affect FPL? Will be interesting. Do we want to spotlight any other players? That's because we have a very interesting person with us in the studio today. And before we go on to hear his take on all of this, I just want to know if there's any other players we would like to have a spotlight on.
We've pretty much touched on the star performance of last week's game week. In my opinion, further shouts can go to what's the name of this right back? Manchester United this time.
Mazraoui. Do you mean Mazraoui?
Hello, yeah, Mazari was quite decent at back. Wasn't surprised that he was in the team of the week. Other callers was Saka, and Welbeck was very, very efficient. Surprisingly, at his age and given his injury records, I was expecting him to still be on form. So it might be a budget buy, probably better option to help Pedro for fans of Pedro. Can only find out players can only find.
Still sticking to Brighton. The thing with Brighton is that their style of play has been uniform across, like from Graham Potter. When Graham Potter was the coach to the Zerbi, and now I forgot the name is the new coach. The style of play has always been exciting. They always play on the front foot. They are a good team to watch and a very good team for neutrals. And their star player at the point, Mitoma, is someone that everybody or virtually most people have removed from their mind space and mindset. But then Mitoma had an attacking return. He scored a goal over the weekend. And that can also keep playing in your mind, because the thing about Brighton is that there are lots of attacking players, from Estopinian, who is left back, is currently injured, but he's back in training, to other guys they have even in attack. João Pedro, the reason why everybody has João Pedro, I think, is because he's a penalty kick taker, but he's also a starter. When Ferguson comes back from injury, though, we don't know how frequent that will be, because they have him. They also have Danny Welbeck, who scored as well. So it will be very tricky with them. But I think bang-on starters are going to be Mitoma, and it's going to be one to watch as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Justin. I wish I could just leave us to just go through all of the teams and have very interesting conversations. But at this point, I think it would be unfair for us not to talk about the manager that has, flipped the coins around, turned the tables on everyone, and is doing very wonderful thing. Um, we have with us Ope in the studio. Ope is currently leading a team by the name of OPEX, and coincidentally, they finished game week one with Ope. Please tell us how many points. I don't want to say it because of obvious reasons. I have some people on this in the studio with me that are going to eat me raw. Hi, Ope. How are you doing? Ope, I'm struggling to hear you. If you're with us in the studio, um, I know you've been on the show. You've just been quiet, but we can't hear you just yet. There's no audio coming from your end. Um, I I'm struggling to get Ope into the studio. So while we keep trying to hear Ope, hello Ope.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, brilliant, fantastic. We can hear you now.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is OPEX. My team
Ah,
name is
nice.
OPEX.
OPEX at the apex.
OPEX. Yeah. Glory be to God.
So,
After the
ah,
first game week,
so
I
he's gone
had
all
the
Nigerian on us. He's gone all Nigerian on us. Glory be to God. Okay, so thank you so much for taking time out to even join the show. We know we reached out to you very late to be a guest on today's live stream. Thank you very much. And I know it's your love for football that has brought you here, and I
yeah,
just want to say thank you. It's interesting that you finished game week one with 91 points, correct?
yeah.
Wow. Okay. I don't know the last time Larry had 91 points, but it's fine. We're not going to go into that banter just yet. So, what I would just like for you to do is tell us your strategy going into game week one and your strategy going into the rest of the season. Bearing in mind, Justin is in the studio with us, and Justin is guaranteeing us that by the end of this month, right, he would have unseated you from number one. And there will be no room for GD or Larry. He's not even talking about me, which is fine, anyways. At the end of
Mhm.
the season, we will know who is the true champion. But we would love to hear your thoughts on this. Please go ahead.
Um, I just take things very simple. Going into the first game week, we were expecting
Did we lose Upper again?
Yes, I
Yeah,
think so. Because I
yeah.
can't hear him from my own end side, from my own end as well.
So I'm guessing maybe Upper stay at the top is not going to last very long.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I can, I can already see the sign too.
You can see
If
the signs.
and it will be my great pleasure if he's going to fluctuate like this as well on the top.
Ah, Justin,
Okay.
is that your doing?
No, it's not mine. So I had a look at. I just had a look at Okwe's team, and Okwe had 44 points from Liverpool and 30 points from Arsenal. Those two alone is 74 points just from Liverpool and Arsenal, five players. And I'm now looking at who they were playing. You get, and that's why I'm very sure this week I'm going to be at the top because I'm employing that same strategy.
Nice, nice, nice. That's very lovely to hear. So while we're still waiting for Upper to get back in, um, I have some very interesting stats that I'd like us to, you know, to take a look at while we're trying to get Upper back in. Um, so right after game week one concluded, somebody shouted in inside of the FPL rodeo community, why are managers transferring out Haaland? And it's been a question some of us are struggling to answer. I don't know if anybody remotely has any idea why currently you have managers letting go of Erling Haaland. It's interesting to know, as at the time of this stream, over 35,000 managers have actually transferred out Erling Haaland, which seems to be very strange. But like someone would say, there might be something they are seeing that we're not seeing.
Mhm. So sorry to just like go. The thing with
Go
Haaland is
ahead,
that
please.
Haaland is very expensive. Haaland is 15 million. And someone like Okpe that is at the top, Okpe did not have Haaland. But the thing is, without Haaland, you
Can you
can
get
have
me?
a balance. Yes, yes, we can hear you now, Okpe. Are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, you can just take us through your team of the week so that we can.
Okay, so what I was saying is I took things so simple. I am not a fan of the newbies. I know the regular players that deliver every season in the Premier League. So I don't think I need to go with the newbies. When I checked the Ipswich team, I saw Chaplin. He had 21 goals and assists last season in the championship. But you see, all these players, when they come to the Premier League, they struggle to continue the form from the championship because they tend to play against the world class defender when they come to the Premier League. So I don't, unless I want to reserve, I want to buy an expensive player and I need to save money. That's when I bring them into my team. And if you check my team, you rarely see newbies. So I went with Harvard. I'm an Arsenal fan. I knew Harvard was going to deliver. So if you check Arsenal first 5 games, they will score well. So that's why I got Harvard into my team. Of course, Salah is a regular. See, you know the regular players, and that's why I'm not going to take any risk at this moment. So after the first 4, 5, 6 game weeks, if I see the newbies that is performing, that is when I can go. Just as Justin said, Estupinian, we know this is a fantastic player. Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Salah, Aland, Bruno, we know them. So I just need to get the regular players into my team. Then after 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, if the newbies are able to convince me to get them into my team, then I go with them. That's it.
I'm
Very,
hoping that
very interesting.
I'm hoping you can
Go
find a
ahead,
very
Justin.
I'm hoping you can find a very comfortable sofa to hide behind when Alan takes to against Ipswich.
And how sure are you that I'm not getting a land for game week 2?
Oh,
Word.
Don't be
that'll be
too
some
sure. Don't
that'll
be
be
too sure
something
if I'm getting a land or not. So
interesting.
You cannot afford him. You can't.
why? Why can't I afford him?
You cannot afford
Means that
Haaland.
you need to make
If you
at
get
least
Haaland,
at
if you get
least
Haaland, you
a
have to
hit.
sell Salah.
Well,
And
game week 2 starts in less than 18 hours, we shall say.
yes, we'll check.
Yeah. So
I'm
and I
loving this.
heard Larry talking about people selling Aland. I think probably the new managers in FPL. I don't know. Probably people saw Salah delivering more points than Aland, and they want to. I don't know. Because me, I I made a promise to myself from the beginning of the season that I will not get Aland because banking on having a 50 million striker up front that I know is probably going to blank on big games is such a big risk. So I think I would rather just get maybe Watkins and Isaac up front rather than putting 50 million on Aland alone because we know Aland is going to against Ipswich. Aland is going to deliver. He's going to deliver against Ipswich. He loves playing against the weak teams. He will ride them, he will bully those defenders and score. But when it comes to playing Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, he will likely blank. I think if he played the game against Tottenham last season, and he had 6 touches in 90 minutes. So that's the kind of player Alan is. When he sees the small team, is going to bully them, and it's going to be a very, very option for game week 2. A very good option for game week 2. Considering playing at home against Ipswich is a very, very good option. So
Mm. You struggle to see why people are transferring out Haaland. Like someone
yes,
will say, there's
yes,
something
because
there's
it,
something they either know that we don't, or there's
I
something
think
they don't know that we all do.
I think because he blanked in game week 1, and see if you check, you will see some amateur manager that will some will even cap, some you will see some triple capping Gaviador in the second. I don't know how people do this kind of silly things, but I don't know. Maybe there's something. Some people might be sleeping with Pep and waking up with him, and they know maybe he's going to be on bench for the second game week. I don't know, but I know it is a big risk not getting Alan for game week 2, and I'm regretting.
Okay, okay, says. But anyways, yeah, interesting take. I like the fact that some people are sticking to their strategy and not willing to change, which usually is what happens to most people. Um, and talking about going into game week 2, really, let's talk transfers. Let's talk transfers. And while we're talking transfers, I just want to show us some stats that are very, very interesting. We've seen quite a lot of transfers in this game week, and it's strange to see that quite a number of us did not have Mohamed Salah. Mo Salah is being transferred in, Diogo Jota, Havertz, Mazrui as well. And it's interesting to see the crop of players that people are trying to transfer in. Um, we also have transfer outs. I don't know if we should be done with the transfer ins and players you feel. So maybe we should just look at players that if we do not have, we need to have, and players that if we have, you will probably advise us to let them go. A lot of people have transferred out Solanke, Watkins, Tony, Trippier, Palmer at the end of game week 1. So what do we have to say? The floor is open, gentlemen. Let's just discuss.
I think I understand why people are transferring out Sri Lanka because of injury. Watkins probably because he's playing against Arsenal. But I don't understand why people are transferring Palmer out, because Palmer next 3 game are something interesting. I think this is the point to bring in Palmer to your team, if you would ask me. And me, I'm speaking for myself as an Arsenal fan. This is the point I'm going to transfer Havertz out of my team. Havertz is not a dependable striker. You cannot depend on Havertz. You cannot keep him long time. It's too expensive to be kept for a long time in my own FPL. So this is the time me I'm going to transfer out Havertz and bring in Palmer. But then probably people are seeing something we are not seeing. I don't know why people are transferring out Palmer. Probably because Palmer has not even known the kind of player he's going to play with in Chelsea. They sign players every market day. So maybe that's why people are transferring him out. But as the penalty taker of the team, and I think they are building the team around him, he should be the most profitable player in Chelsea right now. So for me, Palmer is a good option. Havertz is a bad option. Just for me, for my own team.
I agree as well. The thing with in this entire list, obviously, Ivan Toney is leaving Brentford, probably going to Saudi Arabia.
Mm.
Watkins did not score. He has it easy from game week 4. Trippier has lots of transfer issues, but he has started training as well. Sri Lanka just got injured. I sold him as well. But the thing with Cole Palmer is that one is very expensive, and anybody that has Haaland that tries to have Salah or Saka, you can't really afford Palmer as well. So the thing with Palmer is people might be selling Palmer to buy Salah. So it can be a direct, oh, I have Palmer. I chose between Palmer and Salah, but I chose Palmer before. Now let me just swap Palmer for Salah. So people might be doing that because Chelsea have it easy, or let me not say easy, but Chelsea have it easier for like the next 3 game weeks. Ideally, Chelsea are playing Wolves away, Crystal Palace at home, and Bournemouth away. Those are games where Opama will shine in. He's the designated penalty kick taker. Yesterday in Europa League, he entered in 60th minutes or so. They gave him a standing ovation to enter. So he's the star boy, undisputed star boy of Chelsea in 40 something players they have. If they say who is your one star boy, it's Cole Palmer across board. So he can do anything he wants to do at the club. He has the confidence to do it as well. He had an assist in the Euros final, or he scored. So he is currently hot, and he has confidence from last season. He just won Young Player of the Year as well. So Obama is the only one I feel I don't get why people are transferring out. Then for incoming as well, you have someone like Mazraoui. Mazraoui had a decent game. I'm a United fan, and I watched him. I watched Mazraoui very. I watched Mazraoui like very close because I was trying to compare his game to Wan-Bissaka. That was the left back that left, the right back that left. Um, Majraoui was very, very decent on the ball. He did not make mistakes. He had, I'm sure if you check his pass accuracy, he probably had 90s because he was very, very effective in his passing and his tackling. He made a, and now with the BPS, the new bonus points, you get bonus points for doing some things. That's why someone like Salah this year, or even Solanke, they're going to eat good in bonus points because the more shots on targets you have, the ink before it did not used to affect your bonus points, but now it does. So if you have someone like Salah that was shooting 4 times in the game, or someone like even Suchek gets to the ball a lot for West Ham. So even if it's corner kicks, they always target him, or even Casemiro in United, people that their head is always the target for crossing, they would get bonus points now more than before. So I get why people are going to Mazraoui Havertz. These are very short term, in my opinion. Someone like Vardy is short term. Havertz is very, very short term. I don't rate him as a CF, but with the pattern Arsenal play, he's always going to get chances. But I think the two to look out for here, Musala and Jota. And that's also because for Jota, it's tricky. You have Darwin Nunes and him that are going to always be swapping. So you need to know if the coach, because at the point, the coach will need to play Nunes because they paid almost 100 million for him. so, and he has to work out at this club, you get. So that's just my major issue, my major contribution to this one.
Okay, thank you very much. Going forward, we actually need to look at some fixtures that might prove to be very interesting. Um, I think first is Brighton versus Manchester United.
Okay.
Babajide?
Interesting fixture. Thank you, Mayor. Brighton versus Manchester United. I think this is a very tough call, and from an FPL point of view, I think this is a match that a lot of the managers would actually have to retain their faith in their Brighton assets. Brighton literally, you know, they eviscerated Everton at the Goodison Park barely a week ago. All the popular assets except maybe João Pedro, all of the popular assets for Brighton delivered very juicy points, from Mitoma to Minte to Adingwa to Welbeck. And on the other way around, a lot of people actually thought that Manchester United were very lucky not to have considered against Fulham. There were a couple of promising, attacks that would have on a different day entirely be converted by the Fulham forward. There was a 2v1 that Andres Pereira and Iwobi had against Harry Maguire, but for some weird reasons, Andres Pereira messed that up. I think Onana also made one brilliant save to at least keep out this effort by Fulham defender. And on a different day as well, maybe Man you could have easily gotten like 3 goals on their own side. So I think this is an interesting game that promises to deliver in the attacking part of the game. I'm going for an all-out. Just expect a flurry of goals to happen in this game because don't forget that the Brighton manager is still very much new with the club, is new with the set of players that he has. He's still trying to understand who fits what the best. There was a lot of possibilities that Bako, for example, was going to start for Brighton last weekend, only for him not to even, make the squad at all. And probably that's because he has that possibility of being transferred out. I'm looking forward to a very exciting and very intense match. Maybe about my mind is telling me that that match may eventually end up as 2-2. So for those that have defensive assets in Man U and Brighton, maybe you want to keenly watch out for that and see how you can at least manage them with your bench options.
Okay. So I'm calling the security to kick Babajide out of the studio. I don't know why you tell me that Man U will draw, but let it stay in your mind. In reality, Man U is going to win 3 goals to 1. And so, so come the end of game week 2, I'm sure you will say, I told you so. Um, so, in the spirit of looking at fixtures to we also want to look at Manchester City versus Ipswich Town, which I think we've touched on earlier, but trust me, we cannot overflog this. Any thoughts on this fixture, Lanre, if you may, Justin?
For this
The
fixture,
studio
it's
is open to anyone.
probably going to end like 6-0. Haaland 3 goals at least. At least, at the very least. The thing with Ipswich is that they play good football. Their coach, McKenna was an assistant. It was the head of academy, like under 21s at United, and then it was Ole's assistant, I think. He plays very exciting football. I don't think he knows how to hold back, but against City, it's going to be too much for them. And if they don't come and are very defensive, they would have lost this game in the first 30 minutes. If they don't play a low block, that is.
First 30
Okay,
minutes.
I think I echo Justin's take on this. Of course, I expect Man City to comfortably win win this fixture as much as 5-5 goals, even up to. And Haaland obviously is going to deliver. I expect him to actually get at least 3 goals in the fixture. And I expect Man City to use this as an official curtain raiser to start off another title defense.
Plus, this is the game where they
Okay.
will unveil one again. There's too much in this game for them to lose it.
So for me, it's not about losing. It's just about how wide the margin should be or would be at the end of the day.
Unless
Um,
there's
you
there's,
know,
there's a unless there's something from Ipswich and they have a fight in them and they help the remaining part of the Premier League and do us all a favor. But I don't see it. I don't see it for this game. I see it more towards the Liverpool
while I don't.
match, not this game.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
So
see something in
now
this game.
let's look at the Liverpool Brentford match.
Yeah. So if I can just continue, the thing with
What do you
Liverpool and Brentford is that
go ahead,
Liverpool
please?
had a good game. Brentford also had a good game. Were lucky, like I said earlier, that the Isaac chance did not count, and Wisa and Mbeumo were running riot. So whenever Ivan Toney is out, Wisa and Mbeumo are always on another level. So, but the thing with them is that I Liverpool have not strengthened at all. I think the only business Liverpool have done was to buy that Georgian keeper, and they loaned him out instantly as well. So they've not bought, they've not strengthened. They have a solid squad, very very solid squad. They have a good first 11, arguably the best right back, one of the best left backs, if not the best left back, the best right winger. So they are solid, and if they have at least 3 to 4 players that are best in their positions in the league, it's hard for you to compete with that. So that experience and that quality would always shine. They're the only team to have won a league against Pep, so that should count for
Mm.
something. I don't think they've strengthened enough this summer. Every other person has done business. West Ham have done fantastic business. United are doing business. Even Arsenal are doing business. So Chelsea have done business for everybody. But Brentford they can bring some.
Hello, Justin. Justin, I just lost you for a bit.
Yeah. I said, but Brentford can spring something in here, and I think they have a chance of maybe getting a 2-2 draw. I do think Mbeumo and Wisa they have something to say in this game.
Mm, mm.
Okay. I don't know if I can just
Okay,
maybe quickly add a thought as
go
well.
ahead, please.
On the Liverpool versus Brentford match. This is another match that we're all keenly looking forward to, especially because It's going to be the very first competitive match of Liverpool under Arne Slot in front of the Cup faithfuls. And
Home fan.
if there's something that, historically we have been able to tell, the fans usually want to back up their new manager when it's going against any opposition at all at the Anfield for the very first time. Um, it's a very big opportunity for Arne Slot to make that big statement that even though he's not club, he has something, or he has what it takes to be able to do a very good job for the Merseyside team as well. And in the last five matches between Liverpool and Brentford, Liverpool have won one, Brentford won one, and then they ended up playing in the last four. I beg your pardon. They ended up playing draw on the other one. Liverpool have averaged 2.2 goals per match, while they have, in terms of concession, they've averaged a very, very, insignificant zero point 0.4 goals conceded per match. And contrary to that, Brentford on their own side have averaged 1.8 goals per match. And in terms of concession, they've averaged 2.0 goals conceded per match. So this is a fixture that every Ireland and Jota owners, and even Alexander Arnold, if you have these guys, I think you can begin to lick your lips and bang on some points that are going to come your way. I think it's a match that may not necessarily also deliver a clean sheet for both sides. Like Justin already said, Wisa and Ubelmo, um, they tend to take their game to the next level, and then almost like they're trying as much as possible to show that the team may not necessarily feel the void or the absence of Ivan Tony whenever he's not around. Um, Wisa, for one, had a very brilliant game in that their first match against Crystal Palace. On another day, maybe he could have gotten at least two goals for himself as well. And of course, Mbemo is Mbemo. He's formed a very big partnership with whoever it is that is complementing him at the front part of that Brentford attack. Is able to at least dovetail very well between the midfield and the attack. And interestingly, I think he had about 0.56 expected goal in that match as well against Crystal Palace. So, and it lived up to the expectation. He got a goal for himself, and he was almost everywhere for Crystal Palace. So we're looking forward to another exciting game at the Anfield. I will see how Salah is able to maybe punish whoever it is that has not shown enough faith in the Egyptian king at this point in time. And maybe just to say, a lot of people may have actually been taken out Palmer, apart from the fact that he has a possible injury concern. But because they're also trying as much as possible to not go without Salah for two consecutive game weeks. In game week one, Salah's ownership globally stood at, I think, about 30.7%. But as I speak with you right now, his ownership has risen up to 36.5%. So gradually, people are beginning to come back to their first love, and we'll see what kind of results he gives to all of us that are his owners against Brentford.
Okay, interesting take on our fixtures to focus on. So I'll just share my bit of insights. It is going to be a very interesting game week. Um, I kind of just want to, as per request, we'll talk on who our captain's picks are. But for me, I just want to throw in one differential in for this week and see how well my differential pick would perform at the end of game week 2. So I actually feel that Jeremy Doku will have a very interesting game week, and I believe that it might be one differential to have. Before we wrap up the show today, it will be interesting to know who we think one player that is a must-have for this week, and followed by who our captain's pick would be for this game week 2. Justin?
A player to have must. Haaland, obviously. Captain, triple captain Haaland as well. Differential, Josh Xerxes, United.
Zaxi. Nice. Babajide?
Yes, without a doubt, I think it has to be the Norwegian Gypsy King. There was a poll that Sky Sport Fantasy Football put out recently just to try to get a sense of the global selections. I think of all the almost a million persons that have given their vote on that, 66% of them have gone the way of Erling Haaland. And currently, over 300,000 managers have even given him the triple captain armband. So I think all will lead to Etihad Stadium, and we'll see how he's able to live up to that very big faith that so many managers have shown in him.
Maybe. And I think he's someone who performs under pressure. Lanre, your thoughts?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Lanre.
Okay, yes, I mean, without doubt, Alan is the one to actually pitch a tent this game week. Um, then if you want to get any of Man City assets, Savinho, to double up on Man City and get Gravdiol, if you do not have him. So Man City assets are the best pick for this week to start with. And if you can, like Justin has said, people can pick you if you want to feel lucky this game week to pass Ireland. I mean, like Baji has said, oh, I mean, as last time was over 400 thousand managers globally has actually activated their triple cap chip on Ireland. So that's for me the major picks and my captain pick for this week.
Okay, very interesting. Ah, so I have one final question before we call it a day from the studio. If you had the option of picking one player that you have from game week 1 till game week 38, who would you pick?
Uh, I think that's a very tough one. Uh, if you wouldn't have that luxury of taking that player out of your team at all for the entire 38 game week,
Uh,
um,
for the
a lot of
entire 38 game weeks.
factor comes into play. You have to look at history. You have to look at dependability, their trend, how reliable are they, and if you don't also want to consider the price tag, it's a very tough one, but I don't think you can go wrong having either Ireland or Salah in your team. There was a time that the trend was you always perma cap Salahs, where we used to say then. And then Haaland came, and then it took the league by storm, and it's always been very consistent. He had a little bit of a blooper last season, but even at that, he still won the highest goal scorer award in the league. So I think it has to be, for now, it has to be Haaland for me.
Hmm, thank you very
Um,
much. Larry or
I would
Justin, anyone?
go the same way with Haaland. I would go the same way with Haaland. Actually, Haaland, I won't go Salah second. I'll probably go Trent second and then Salah third because
Nice.
those are
Nice.
FPL sure bankers.
AFPL show bankers. Larry, your thoughts before we wrap up the show? Okay. Larry is hiding his thoughts. I would most likely go like I did for game week 1 and I ended up at the bottom of the table. I would like to just do something very different and maybe go the route of Bruno Fernandes. But anyway, that's how it happens. Different managers, different styles. Sometimes the differentials work, sometimes they don't. It's been a very, very interesting and insightful show today. I've actually gotten some strategies for my team. I hope all of our viewers and listeners, I hope they are able to pick up one or two insights from the topics we've discussed today. It's nice having you. We love the game of football. We are a community of people who love the game. We are FPL Radio. Thank you, Lanre. Thank you, Babajide. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Okwe, and for everyone that is listening to us. Thank you guys so much. We love the game of football and we do this for you. We do it for our love for the game. And I hope to see you at the end of game week 2. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye. Thanks.
In that FPL Romeo, we play the game. Fantasy football, the road to fame. We talk stats, we talk goals. Building teams to reach our goals. Every week we make our picks. Playing insights, all the slick tricks. Got my squad ready to compete. Riding high, never face defeat. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Out the lead, we own the space. Talking phone, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. Who's informed, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never a waste. Bet your play, navigate with ease. Winning squads, that's our breeze. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase. Top the league, we own the space. Talking for 'em, we break it down. In this league, we're wearing crowns. Who's informed, who's lost pace? Pick the best, never a waste. Bench your play, navigate with ease. Winning squads, it's a breeze. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Insightful reviews and the fun won't hide. Join the band to feel the vibe. FPL Rodeo, we ride. Transfers made, we're on the chase.